Hello, and welcome to episode 27 of Nintendo Therapy, a show about the latest Nintendo news and rumors, as well as a celebration of all things Nintendo. With me this week, we have Harrison.
Hey guys, welcome back.
And Sean.
Hello.
So, what have you guys been playing this week? Like we say every week. Let's start off with that.
I'm definitely thinking of Zelda, and I'm definitely thinking about it. And on the Nintendo side, I've been playing a little bit more Pokemon, and I attempted our Spotlight game, and I'm playing a few other games outside of Nintendo. And Pokemon will come up in a segment we're doing later. So that's me. How about you, Sean?
So work kind of kicked my butt, so I got to spend a little time with the Spotlight game, and that's about it.
So, it doesn't sound like either of you are jumping on the Pikmin Day 1 bandwagon. Is anyone playing?
No,
I forgot that was out.
Yeah.
No, I saw some videos on it. Kevin, what do you think of Pikmin 4?
I like it a lot. Last week I said I'm going into it expecting 3 to be the better game. Yeah. And honestly, like I feel like it's at least even with 3. It might be better. It's the type of thing where it depends on the mood you're in, because they, unlike Pikmin, I think Pikmin 1 and 3 play very similar, and this plays different. So it kind of depends on the mood you're in. Like, having that dog creature really changes everything.
Really?
Yeah, and there's a lot more stuff to find, so it's not like in most of the Pikmin games so far. Again, I always disclaim this, I haven't played 2, but in 1 and 3, the stuff you find is kind of rare. You might even go a full day in game and not find something to bring back. Whereas in this, you're finding like 10 things a day. Like there's stuff everywhere. So that's a big change too. But of course the gameplay is like, geared around that. Like they've made a lot of changes. Like some of the abilities you just have as normal abilities in Pikmin 3 are things that you buy now. And it kind of is better that way, believe it or not, because it, you just don't buy the ones you don't think you're going to use, and it adds something when you got like a currency in the game. That's a big critique of a lot of Zelda games, is after a while the rupees become worthless.
Yeah.
This makes things like you're excited to find the raw materials that you end up buying things with.
So is it relaxing?
Yeah, because there's at least so far, I'm only on I think I'm on day 7. And there's no limit, as far as I know, to the days, but I've played 7 in-game days, and so far there's no limit. And there's not like, even Pikmin 3 had like a sort of sense of urgency, because you had to find these fruits that you would turn into juice, and the justification was like that was your food supply, and if you ran out of food, you'd get a game over. You couldn't keep going. This doesn't have anything like that. Like you could do days and days doing nothing. So again, it might change at some point in the game, but so far 7 days in, you could just do nothing if you wanted to, and you wouldn't be penalized for it.
All right, that's cool.
Wow, I was wrong about Pikmin 4. So I don't remember last week what we said the Metascore was at that point, but the Metascore for Pikmin 4 is 88, and the user score is 9.3. A user score of 9.3 is ridiculous, guys. Like
that's
it's really good
on the internet, where people are just negative all the time. Because there are some zeros. There are some like never played this game.
Well, so far the only critique I've heard that is like a legitimate critique and not just something stupid is that it's not a challenge, or that it's too easy. And to that I would say, first off, I'm playing it because that's a feature, not a bug to me. Like I'm playing it because I want a relaxing game. I would compare it to something like Stardew Valley or something like that. But at the same time, the entire concept of Pikmin is kind of like, see how fast you can finish this. You know what I mean? So that's the challenge. It's not in finishing the game. It's almost like got a built-in like what's the word I'm looking for? When you play the game quick. Not time trial.
Speed run.
Speed run, yeah. It's almost like a game like designed to speed run, because kind of the reward, kind of like in Stardew Valley, how you can set the challenge for yourself to like, I'm gonna complete the visitors center in the first year. You know what I mean? You can be like, I'm gonna try to finish this game in X amount of days. So there's stuff like that, but yeah, there's not a lot of challenge to it, especially if you don't care if the Pikmin die. You can just keep throwing wave after wave at the bosses.
Right.
Is that how
there's
you
always
play?
more where that came from.
Yeah. That's. I feel like that's been Pikmin since the beginning. I feel like that.
Yeah.
I feel like that was like the original attraction to me for Pikmin when I was like 12 years old, and you know, you could throw them into a fire or something. I scrolled through 2 pages. I didn't see any valid negative comments. Like, I even saw one that said something like, I watched some videos on Pikmin and decided it wasn't a good game. Like things like things
Yeah,
like
see,
that.
like the only valid, to me, the only valid critique I've seen is that there's no challenge. And I'll kind of agree. Yeah, you're not gonna. This isn't a game where you're gonna be breaking your controller and throwing and rage quitting, but it's a relaxing game, and I like it that way. I have a prediction that I had while playing it though, because I thought it was gonna rain one of the days and it didn't, and that made me realize, hey, there's never really been weather in a Pikmin game, so I'm predicting it right now. Pikmin 5, there's going to be weather conditions. Maybe even they're like on a set day, because I know people like to strategize their speed run. So like maybe like every day 5 it rains or something. But throwing that out there, we need weather in the Pikmin games. Some snow. Maybe they could go through the seasons. Yeah, really combine it with Stardew.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah, and I've been playing that, and I played a little bit of Zelda, but mostly that. It's definitely worth the money. I'll say that. It's worth. I bought it with the voucher system, and I'm going to use that other voucher for Super Mario RPG. And I might end up buying Mario Wonder before the year's over, and that's probably it for the year for me, is those 3 games. So let's move on to some news. It sounds like we're done with that segment. All right, so a couple of news, couple of rumors, not a busy week, you know. Summer tends to be a slow news time. This one I just kind of wanted to nitpick, so I'll read the actual news item and then I'll nitpick it. GameCube collector finds Holy Grail. It says a lucky Nintendo GameCube fan recently made a Holy Grail game find by picking up a copy of Metroid Prime and The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker Dual Pack. So it's a GameCube case that has both Metroid Prime and Wind Waker in it. Right now, the Metroid Prime Zelda Wind Waker combo pack is listed for around $1,000 on eBay. The combo pack was only released as part of a special GameCube holiday bundle in 2005, which is why it's hard to track down. So it says Reddit user great, and then some letters, managed to do just that, though finding a high quality copy at a quote nerd sale. According to the Reddit user, it cost them around $1,000, so in line with how much it sells for on eBay. So I wanted to pick this apart because this is such a non-story. It's like, okay, there was a guy who knew what he had, and he sold it to somebody who knew what it was.
Right.
Like at market value. And I think we need to stop overusing the term Holy Grail, because I checked, and there's like 8 of these things on eBay right now for, like the article says, like $1,000. So if you want it, it's out there. Anyone could just go on eBay right now and buy one. This isn't a holy grail.
So,
Go ahead. I'll get more frustration out in a second.
no, I was just saying because this is probably the same article that I saw on Game Rant, and it's funny because like when I saw this article before I clicked on it, I was thinking because I know because of Phoenix Resale, like shout out to him. He's got a great YouTube channel. I know for a fact that the ultimate GameCube Holy Grail is Pokemon Box. And it was funny.
Yes, I've heard of that. Yep.
When I clicked on the article, like the second paragraph is all about Pokemon Box. And if you don't know, Pokemon Box was sold exclusively at the Poke Center in New York City. It's not a game. It's a way to transfer your Pokemon through the GBA connector cable, which we've talked about many times on here.
Yeah, but you glossed over. It was only sold at the Nintendo store, so that's why it's like super rare. Only one location of the Nintendo store.
It was only sold at Poke Center, New York.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Poke Center, sorry.
Right. And it was a way to transfer your like Emerald and GBA Pokemon into Pokemon Coliseum. So it's not even a game, but the resale. I mean, I looked yesterday on eBay, and there was ones that were selling for $20,000. Now, it doesn't really matter what the listing price is, but they have sold for that price in the past. So that was your. I'll go back to you, Kevin, because my question would be then, what qualifies as a holy grail? And mine would be it was either sold at an exclusive location or it was something that was never sold ever. Those would be my two.
To me, a holy grail, and this is probably the comic book collector in me more than the video game fan, is a holy grail is something that you can't just go on the internet and just buy. For example, there's an issue of Ninja Turtles that I've wanted my whole life. It's a misprint. It got the wrong cover printed on it. There's only 3,000 copies of it. It hardly ever surfaces. And it's only worth it's not like $1 million comic book. It's worth, I think it usually sells for around about this, like $1,500. So it's not even necessarily the price that makes it a holy grail. It's the rarity. It's something that you can't just decide, hey, I'm going to go on eBay and buy this. It's something that very rarely surfaces. That's what the term means to me anyway.
Yeah, very rarely surfaces. Okay. And so that would be something that, isn't, it wasn't just sold in stores. I had
like the Nintendo 64 disc drive, I think, is like that, where a lot of stuff that was released only in Japan ends up being this way.
Yeah. Because I went through the ones that I knew, or like the ones that I could think of, and I could only think of like just a few holy grails that I knew of, and the ultimate would probably be the NES World Championships that were never sold and only given out at the competition. And they said that there were 116 of the gray or silver edition and only 26 of the gold edition. And the thing is that nobody knows like how many are in circulation. Like some are destroyed, some are not around anymore. And every once in a while they come up, and those are the ones that are going for 20,000, or those are the ones that are like, it seems like the ultimate dream. So there's that. Legend of Zelda test cartridge I knew of. Like, it's an interesting part of Nintendo history. Like, they used to use test cartridges at service centers. And also, like, could you imagine working at a Nintendo service center in like the 80s and 90s when like they had to have those around the country for people to go to, like actual licensed ones?
It's like the VCR repair stores they used to.
Yeah, could you imagine? Could you imagine like being in America working for an official Nintendo service? You know, like it's a very weird part and the very interesting part to look back on. But
I was wrong, by the way. I did a quick eBay search, and there's like 3 or 4 Nintendo 64 disc drives for sale right now, ranging from $1,600 to like $3,000 completely in the
There might
box.
be some games that are super rare for it, or yeah, I don't.
F-Zero X expansion unit,
Yeah.
$250.
But then I also looked, and according to a couple different sources I found, the most rare combo pack for GameCube is not this game. The most rare one would be Sonic Heroes and Super Monkey Ball, which I found out is not rare for Xbox, but is super rare for some reason for GameCube. And
Yeah,
it,
I think there's a lot of stuff in that
Yeah,
generation where it's rare on one of the 3 systems and not on the others.
right.
it's not super rare, but I know the Mega Man collection that they put on GameCube is rare.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's
hard
not
to
rare.
find.
It's not rare on PlayStation 2, or they might have put it on Dreamcast. I don't think so, actually, now that I think of it, but it's on PlayStation 2.
Well,
It's not rare
yeah,
there.
it's super rare. I mean, it can go for like $1,000 online now, and at some point,
Really?
at some point it can. I mean, at some point it was going for a lot more, but
I have it.
I should have kept it.
I bought it because Sean knows this. This is a joke I've been making my whole life. Every time they put the Mega Man games out in any form, I buy them like a sucker. Every time.
True.
I was talking about Monkey Ball, Sonic Heroes.
Okay.
Like that one.
Okay.
Like you can find the Xbox one for like nothing, like just the price they would be normally. But the GameCube one is, I mean, at one point was selling for like over $1,000. So yeah, super rare. Kevin, can you name the most rare Zelda game that was mass produced or sold in stores? I'll say, and bonus if you can get the edition.
Do the CDI games count?
I guess not. I guess we're doing strictly like Nintendo.
Okay, because I think technically the answer to that is the Zelda, the one it's called Zelda, I think. The one where you play as Zelda, it's a CDI game. That was the third one released on CDI, and that one's super rare. And they're all terrible.
Shout out to Angry Video Game Nerd.
Yeah. Rarest. Besides that, I don't know. No.
So I looked it up. The rarest, and it's the limited edition. The rarest would be Oracle of Ages and Seasons limited edition, which came in a dual pack with some big instructional book inside of it. It looked very cool, and I thought that was interesting. I guess they didn't make a lot of them, because to find the combo pack in like mint condition now costs a lot. It's not a holy grail, I would say. And I know you feel a certain way about the Oracle games.
Yeah, they're not they're in my bottom 5 of Zelda for sure. And there's 2 of them.
So there you go. It's a pretty cool release. Just the artwork and the books that come with it, and I thought that was interesting. So I mean, yeah, I like this. I like this take. I like this segment. I would say there's not. I mean, as far as Nintendo Holy Grails, I would say there's less than 10. I would say more than likely.
Yeah. I think we're all in agreement that this is not one of them.
No.
So we can change it to bucket list or something else.
Yeah. It's a rare find. I'll let you use that term, but Holy Grail, like it's hyperbole. It's when we just start to exaggerate to a crazy degree. And it's like, no, you just mean rare. It's rare. It's not something you see a lot, but if you want to go find it, you can. So that's that. I didn't even know it existed, to tell you the truth. I did not know there was a combo pack Metroid Prime Legend of Zelda. Wind Waker.
Yeah. There were some interesting combo packs back in the day. One being Sonic Heroes and Super Monkey Ball. Like, it just, I don't know.
Those make sense together, though.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah, Zelda and Metroid, that doesn't really go together.
What was the whole thing with like like what happened with like Super Smash Brothers, Animal Crossing, and Metroid, or what was it? Like there was all those memes a couple years ago that
Oh, I don't know.
no, it wasn't Metroid. I'll look it up later. Let's move on.
Also, shout out to anyone who wanted the 64 disk drive to come to America. I'm one of you. And I got so caught up in the promotion of that thing in Nintendo Power, and then they didn't release it here. And it's like, I still want one, even though I know there's no games for it, and it apparently wasn't even good. But, all right. Rumors. So I got 2 rumors for us. First one, Altered Beast and Gunstar Heroes might be returning. Video game leaker. Why are these always impossible to say? Special Nick has said on the latest edition of Xbox Era podcast that Sega is planning to bring back a couple of older beloved franchises. So on the podcast, he said that Sega wants to he point blank said they're planning to bring back Altered Beast and Gunstar Heroes. It's just whether or not we believe this guy. Both of them were very popular on the Mega Drive. Sega's previously said that they're looking to delve deeper into their back catalog. And today, or not today, Forever Entertainment teased that they have a new remake project in the works. So that could be it.
So Gunstar, I could see. No one wants more Altered Beast.
Exactly.
I could see them do. To be honest, does Sega own?
Yes. They do. I looked it up.
No, I was gonna say, do they own? What the heck is the name of it? The one with the Viking and stuff. Oh man, I'm blanking on everything this week.
The one with the Viking.
Yeah, there's a Viking, and then you choose between the 3.
Oh,
Golden Axe.
Golden Axe. Yeah, that's Sega.
I honestly think there would be more to do with reviving Golden Axe than Altered Beast, but
I think the last Golden Axe game was on PS2, maybe?
So that could use a revival, and I always thought that was better than Altered Beast. That was a game I played a lot. I think I played the second one most growing up, and yeah, it's better than Altered Beast. I'll say it. Altered Beast.
I mean, watching grass grow is better than Altered Beast. That's
a hot take.
One of the worst games ever.
So. I hope it comes up in the randomizer this week.
This is the main reason why I don't know this person. I don't know this leaker or whatever this guy does. This insider. I just refuse to believe it. And Gunstar is very, very popular, of course, and there's plenty of nostalgia. But would they make a 3D Gunstar, or would they make a new side-scrolling game? I'd be very confused to know what direction they would take it that would be popular for old and new players. So with that, I think this is just throwing things out there, in my opinion.
Oh, I'm sorry. The last Golden Axe was Golden Axe Beast Rider, and it came out on PS3 and Xbox 360 in October of 2008. Wow. So that's the last time there was a Golden Axe.
That's... All right, so maybe they want to see what's going on with the Altered Beast crowd. They already tested the Golden Axe crowd a little bit.
That's more recent than I thought. But I'm encouraged by the fact that Sega might feel motivated to look at their other catalogs, because again, like I talked to you last week, Kevin, bring on the mini Sega Saturn and Sega Dreamcast. I did not have a Sega Saturn growing up, but I had a Dreamcast, and I think introducing people to that catalog again would be pretty cool. So
Yeah, I saw that news item that they were considering releasing those, and it was interesting to me because I thought the mini console fad had faded.
No, it's still going. It's just not as
well, what was
prevalent,
the
I
last one
guess.
they released?
exactly. It might just
They made a second Sega Genesis one, actually.
Yeah.
Oh,
Different
that's
games.
right. But that made sense. I don't know. I love Dreamcast. I still have my Dreamcast. I honestly, even though this is a Nintendo podcast and Sega is the enemy, uh, the Dreamcast might be aesthetically my favorite looking system. Looks like a little pizza box. I love it. It's a simple square, but I love it. I love the way it looks.
I always thought it was
Oh.
futuristic when I had it. Yes, John.
So apparently the last Altered Beast game, now that I've gone down this rabbit hole, came out in 2005 for PlayStation 2 in Japan and Europe.
Oh, okay. They knew we didn't want it.
So apparently that's where that audience is.
It wouldn't surprise me if they had a big South American audience for it either, because
Oh yeah,
they're like Sega won the console wars in South America, especially Brazil.
oh yeah.
I forget where I saw that. It might have been in that documentary that Sean was talking about.
Oh, the console war one.
Console war one, yeah. But yeah, Brazil, Sega killed it down there.
Or you saw it in Brazil. I mean, you've been there before, haven't you?
Yeah, but they weren't talking about Sega Genesis in 2021. I think it was 2022.
They might have been.
It was either last year or the year before. I already can't keep track of
how
my
good
life.
is your Portuguese? They might have been.
My Portuguese is terrible.
Yeah.
And the people were not hiding the fact that they were staring at us when my wife would speak to me in English. Just like not even hiding how much they were staring at us. Like, what the heck are they saying? But yeah, it was interesting being a fish out of water.
Hey, I mean, I could do many podcasts on that exact same subject. Trust me. I mean, that's me every day. That is me every day of my life.
And the last rumor I had here, because I love every time we get Nintendo Switch 2 Virtual Boy Color rumors. It's funny, they all seem to be pointing to the same launch window. So I'm really starting to believe we're going to see something first quarter 2024. A new financial report from a Chinese language media site has offered up a possible clue. They're one of Nintendo's frequent business partners named PixArt Image. And they it says that this was machine translated. I'm not sure what that means. I mean, obviously it means it wasn't done by a person, but did they just put it in Google Translate? I don't know. But it says machine translated. It says part of something they wrote. However, it is worth noting that the supply chain pointed out that the Japanese game machine will be launched early next year, which has been absent for many years. The game machine is also one of the key customers of PixArt. And since Nintendo works with PixArt on a lot of things, people are thinking first quarter next year. The game machine could be, you heard it here first. Nintendo's next system is called the game machine.
I hope that's not a test, like a test name. I kind of like it. Because, too often these days, like, we make things with names that are confusing or names that don't make sense, especially Nintendo. But
I wish it came after GameCube though, and they just kept that trend going. This is the GameCube. This is the game machine. This is the game doohickey. This is the game device. This is the
This plays games. Exactly. Like, straight to the point. No messing around. It's the Nintendo game machine.
I mean, it's the original. That's all we called it, was the Nintendo.
Yeah, and then your mom called everything a Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody's mom did that back then.
Yep.
I've told this story, I think, on our other podcast, but my grandmother got confused between my PlayStation and my Game Boy and used to call it my Playboy.
Good times.
I always laugh. I always laugh thinking about that. But yeah, it's just interesting to me that these rumors are all from different places, but they're all for first quarter 2024. So I'm getting really, really excited to hear some news about first quarter 2024. It would be, like we said before, it would be the exact same window the Switch launched in. The Switch launched in March. And it was announced in October.
Looking at future game releases is where I'm looking at like the next system, because it's like we're talking about Pokemon last weekend, and like, you know, I wonder if there wasn't a new system planned, if we would know about some of these games for next year.
Well, that's like the main reason you saw that video online. I think we talked about this last week. Someone made like a fake video for the Switch 2, and I said the main reason I know this is fake is Nintendo would never call the system the Switch 2. But yeah, it didn't have any new games on it. Was like another giveaway. It didn't have like a new Mario game on the cover or something.
Right.
Like, why would you launch a new system and make the box art all games from the old system? But yeah, I'd love to know what their plan is. I'd love to know when we're just gonna have to sit around and wait. Maybe in September we'll hear something. Maybe in October. If I don't hear something by the end of October, I'm obviously gonna give up on first quarter 2024. But we'll see. We'll see. And that brings us to a segment that Harrison thought up, which I thought was a really cool idea.
Sure. So I've been working on this for a little bit, and last week we talked about Stardew Valley. And my idea was I was going through my collection. I was thinking about games that are, we called it the best bang for your buck. And basically they're games that you've either put a lot of hours into and or have a great price point. So a lot of hours compared to what you paid for that game. I think if we go around, I'll do my first one. And since it inspired this segment, I'll say my first one is Stardew Valley. I've spent about $20 between Steam and Nintendo, because I bought them both on sale. I'm sure I did. I've played the vanilla game. I've played games with mods. I have roughly about.
I want that tractor mod. I'm so jealous of the PC gamers for that.
Right. Well, and now that it's on, like, now that I can play it on Steam Deck, but also it's also something where I'm like, did I really buy a Steam Deck to play Stardew Valley or something? You know, it's kind of like that as well.
Yeah.
But I have roughly, I looked, about 200 hours, which there might be listeners that are saying like 200 hours in Stardew Valley, really? For me, anything about 200, 300 hours is a lot. And I think when I get the itch again, because I get that way a lot, I'll go back and play Stardew Valley more. I could easily see myself playing for at least another 100 hours, depending on what I want to do.
They update it so much; it's a new game every time.
So they've kind of, I mean, to me, they've kind of cornered that genre. And yeah, I mean, a $20 game with unlimited amounts of ways to play and gameplay. Yeah. So Kevin, I'll kick it over to you. How about you give us one?
Okay, so the first one I always think of is Metal Gear Solid 3. I spent $20 on it. I feel like I've had a very rocky relationship with the Metal Gear franchise. I played Metal Gear Solid on the first PlayStation, loved it. And then I became obsessed for Metal Gear Solid 2. it was, to me, like the perfect demonstration of what the PlayStation 2 was capable of. I remember I used to just rewatch the intro cutscene over and over and be like, man, video games have finally become movies. But it was just funny because it's like laughable by today's standards what those graphics look like. But anyway, so I played Metal Gear Solid 2, was like blown away, obsessed, probably went back and played the first one another 100 times. And then for some reason, I didn't get 3 right away. I don't know why. Again, I have a rocky relationship with this franchise because I ended up doing the same thing for 4. I didn't play 4 right away, and I haven't played anything after 4. That was the last game in the series I played. So I'm obsessed when I'm obsessed, and indifferent any other time. But yeah, so anyway, I saw Metal Gear Solid 3. I actually bought it at the grocery store, of all places. I was buying groceries, and it was in that section of the store that has like the magazines and like it's the video games, obviously. It was there for $20. And that's where I picked up Metal Gear Solid 3 for $20 and wound up playing the heck out of it. Like I 100%ed it multiple times. I did the thing where you play through the whole game and you have to shoot all the hidden frogs. I did the thing where you have to do the full playthrough without setting off any alerts. Just all of it. And probably like 200 hours into that game. Which is interesting because I think the reason I didn't buy it to begin with was because I was like, I don't want to deal with that camouflage system. It seems like it's going to take too much time. And then I ended up playing the game for like 200 hours anyway. So that's my first one.
Very cool story behind
$20. Yeah. Metal Gear Solid 3.
All right.
Sean, are you with us right now? I know your dog started barking. You might have dipped out. Yeah, it seems like you dipped out. So why don't you go? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so my first one is actually a recent release, but the Cowabunga collection for $40, 13 games, and the amount of time I've spent with it since I've got it, and the fact it's endlessly replayable to me, like I've put like 45 hours into that game. That's just playing it, that's not trying to do. The extent of me doing anything crazy was seeing like how many quarters it took to beat the arcade games with each turtle. But I don't know. I still play it. I'm trying so hard to beat them all like legit without save points. And in my opinion, it might be the best retro collection ever put out just because of how much care went into it and how much they put into the bonuses and everything. And the fact that they added even more games for the online section of it. I don't know. It's just other than it's turtles, but yeah, I love that game and I'm still having a blast playing it.
That's a very good one. I mean that could be hundreds of hours for the price. So I think that's a really good pick. I'm staying with the indies. Number 2 for me would be Vampire Survivors, which is coming out on Switch very soon. Vampire Survivors, I've spent about $5, and I haven't bought the DLC because I'm about 100 hours into restarting another playthrough because I stopped a long time ago. And I haven't even reached a point where I want to buy the DLC, which is they're only like $1 a piece. If you play on mobile, the base game is free, and then the DLC is paid for. So I wanted to bring this one up because I've always liked price structures and games like this that are like, let's get you into the game, and then here's some more DLC if you like it. And it's also at a price point where I'm putting it in the just buy it section where like if you see it on sale and it's $2, just pick it up. Especially if you're on Steam, like you could always return it if you play it for an hour and you don't like it. But honestly, like a game that's only a couple of dollars, I might not even bother returning if I don't like it. Honestly, it might be too much effort at that point. So for sure, I mean, $5 for a game that I'll play for 100 hours more at least, and I'm gonna buy it on Switch when it comes out. That's mine. I'm sticking with the indies today.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that on Switch. I want to give it a shot.
Yeah, and multiplayer is releasing soon, so hey guys, check it out. It's definitely worth it. Kevin, what's your next one?
I'm gonna connect what both of you just said.
Ooh.
So I got some quick bites as far as indie games go. So these were all games that I basically got for free because Nintendo has that like program where they give you the coins with each purchase, and then eventually you've saved up enough money, you might as well get a free game. So Golf Story I bought using my Nintendo points, which everybody knows. Golf Story, don't really need to talk much about it. It's a ton of fun. Go play it. Shadows of Adam is an RPG that I think people should be shining more light on. It's a really cool RPG that instead of using like, flat out numbers for the magic abilities, it uses percentages, which makes it really easy to know how many times you're going to be able to cast something in a battle. Like 20%, I can cast that 5 times. Boom, easy. And a Wii U game that people aren't going to be able to play now because they shut down the eShop, but I got for free back in the day, was called Mighty Switch Force.
Oh yeah,
also an indie game. It was like a platforming, kind of reminded me of like Super Meat Boy is cartoony, but it was a precision platformer. I'll say that. And I got that one for free because at the time I worked at Target and I noticed my employee discount worked on Nintendo eShop cards. So every so many eShop cards I bought, I basically had a free game. But anyway, the one I paid actual money for. So from indie games, with what Harrison said, to collections of what Sean said, Sega Genesis Classic Collection, I got for, I don't know what it normally is priced at, but it's always on sale. Pretty sure I got it for $10 on one of those sales. So just look out for the Sega Genesis Classic Collection on sale. Obviously, I grew up as a Nintendo kid. I missed a lot of the classic Sega Genesis games, and it's on sale all the time. You got the Golden Axe games we talked about before are in there. Sonic the Hedgehog games, there's like 5 of them in there. Toe Jam and Earl is in there, which is one of my favorite games of all time. Decap Attack, I discovered through this collection, as well as Bonanza Brothers, was a really good Sega Genesis game. Just a great collection. I know Sean talked about the Sega Genesis Mini earlier, and I think a lot of these are on that as well. But yeah, if you ever see the Sega Classics collection on sale, pick it up because there's like 30 games on the thing. Of course, you're going to spend a lot of time playing it.
It's a good pick. Bonanza Brothers is fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're like the Blues Brothers, basically. And now we're on to you, Sean. What did you spend little money on but get a lot of hours out of?
So I guess one of my indie picks is Dead Cells, which they're still supporting.
Yep.
So that's so cool. But I think I got it on sale for like, I don't know, $15, and then the DLCs have ranged from like 5 to 10 depending on what they were. But I've probably put 80 hours into that game over the past 4 or 5 years, and I still haven't seen everything in it. Like, it has that much content.
Is it based on the Papa Roach song?
No.
Don't think so. And I don't know how many people are going to get that reference, but
Well, good for you if you get it.
yeah.
But yeah, it's like is it roguelite? I don't know how you say that for that genre.
Roguelite?
Sure.
Light.
Permadeath.
Yeah, it's permadeath and random, and it's basically a Metroidvania. But all the level orders are randomized, and the layouts and the equipment you get and everything. And I don't know. And the Castlevania DLC they just added is very good, insanely difficult.
Yeah.
But and they're still gonna add more content to it after that. So I think it's really worth picking up on sale if you're looking for something that you can play for 20 minutes and
yeah,
and
it's always on sale. Like it's always on sale and still being supported. Um, Number three, and then I have honorable mentions after this. But number three is Hades for me, and
Ooh, that's a good one.
I made this segment just so I can talk about my favorite indie game of all time. And
Shocking.
I don't know if I've ever talked about this game on this pod before, but Hades, I played. I played their previous games. I played Bastion. I played starts with a T, Transistor. Uh,
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
before that, and they were never really too much for me. And I picked up Hades on sale, and it instantly became a problem. Like J- January of 2021, I did not do very much that entire month. Like I spent so much time, like when a game is good and you're just daydreaming about it when you're not playing it. Like you're at
Yeah.
work and
Yeah.
you're just thinking about it all the time. Like as I put Survivors in the just buy it category, my made up category for Hades is the don't start playing it category. I avoid that. I avoid this game because I know if I turn it on, if I start a new game, that's it. I'm going to go back to it. I'm going to play it. I'm going to finish it. I'm going to go to the epilogue. I have about 300 hours in this game, which is a lot, especially for a roguelike game like this. And I've spent maybe $20 on it. I, in my opinion, it is the most balanced game I've ever played. It's one of my favorites of all
Okay.
time. Can't wait for the sequel. And by far has to go on this list.
Yeah, I have yet to beat Hades. I can get to the third boss, but it's a really good game. I agree with you too. Like the thing I would put in Hades over Dead Cells is the fact it's more balanced, which makes it not an easier game, but I feel like an easier to jump into than Dead Cells would be, in my opinion. But yeah, Hades is well worth checking out.
Yeah, yeah, and Hades it does have a god mode. If so, they do try to cater to many different people and play styles. They also have a hell mode, or whatever it's called, after you I think initially beat the game or whenever it's unlocked. But yeah, I mean, if you watch people that are really good, it really doesn't matter what or how they play. They're just good with no matter what they get in the
Oh
game.
yeah,
Which is not me. Just to be clear, it's not me. I still have lots of preferences, but yeah, I digress. Don't start playing it. Don't start talking about it. Game. I have two more honorable mentions, but Kevin, what's your next one?
Well, real quick though, when you mentioned that games that you think about while you're not even playing them, it reminded me, did either of you in like the 5th, 6th grade, like middle school, I used to draw levels of video games in my notebook and like make my own levels too. Like, did either of you used to do that?
I did not, but I do remember you doing
Oh,
it.
okay.
I did think similar, but I don't think my levels would be that good.
Oh, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if they're good. But anyway, my next game, again, I'm kind of cheating. I got this for free, and I just like the story associated with it because it's almost something that it's almost a regret. So, got this game for free. Banjo-Kazooie. See, I didn't play this when it was current on the Nintendo 64 because of a weird reason. I had Nintendo Power, and it was during the era of Diddy Kong Racing. They let it be known that, hey, Rare is going to be making platforming games based on some of the characters from Diddy Kong Racing. And I initially skipped Banjo because he wasn't the racer I used. He wasn't my character. And Nintendo Power was already talking about 12 Tails Conquer Goes West. So I was like, I use Conquer in Diddy Kong. That's going to be my game. I'm going to skip Banjo-Kazooie, but I'm going to buy Conquer. And then, little did I know at the time, Conquer ended up getting delayed like 40 times before it became Conquer's Bad Fur Day. Didn't have anything to do with 12 Tails Conquer Goes West. So yeah, I avoided it at the time. And then in like 2005, randomly, I was hanging out at a friend's house. We were cleaning up a room at his house, and he knew I collected Nintendo 64 games. And we were cleaning up this spare room, and I know this sounds like a made up story. Like if I saw this online, I'd call BS, but I swear it happened to me. While we were cleaning up this room, we found a sealed copy of Banjo-Kazooie, like in perfect condition. He said it must have been like a Christmas present that never got given to him. And he just gave it to me. Sealed in-box copy of Banjo-Kazooie. And like an idiot, I opened it and played it because that wasn't a collector thing yet. And I regret it to this day. But I've played a ton of it. So it's technically a game I paid no money for and got hours and hours of entertainment out of, so there's that.
I will play it if it ever comes up in the randomizer.
I bought 2. I paid money for that one, and I don't think it's as good. Banjo-Tooie. You don't often see that on lists of games of like when people talk about wanting a new Banjo game, they talk about Banjo-Kazooie. They don't talk about Tooie.
That's fair. So my last one is a game I stumbled on by accident that I only paid $20 for. So here are the 2 things that are interesting about Demon Throttle. Other than it's not a road rash game with monsters, because that's what the title made it sound like to me. It is a Switch exclusive that only was released physically.
Okay.
So it's an indie game. Devolver Digital published it. The guys who made it made a game called Gato Roboto, which you're like a cat with a mech. But anyway, this game, you play as a cowboy and a vampire, and it's like an NES top-down shooter.
This is so cool.
And it's only got 4 levels, but the game's really hard.
I love when they do that. Reminds me of the original Ghostbusters on NES. There's only 4 screens, but you'll never make it to the 4th one.
Well, I got to the 3rd one today for the first time, so I've probably put about 25, 30 hours into this thing. But it's really good. You can play it co-op. If you are playing it by yourself, you can switch between the 2 characters, which technically I guess gives you 2 lives, but you really only have 1 life for the whole game. And the story is that monsters stole the vampires' chalices, and so those are in like underground levels you have to find. And the cowboy is seeking vengeance against a demon who he thinks kissed his wife. So
it's a revenge story.
Yeah, it's kind of a revenge story, but yeah, I just got to the 3rd boss today, and yeah, I don't know. I'm enjoying it. It's not for everyone. Like, it's insanely difficult. But like I said, I just stumbled upon it by accident. So I mean, I found it for 20, so maybe you can find it for that. But yeah, if you're weird and still like to get stuff that's physical only, Demon Throttle's worth it.
This is so cool. I didn't know about this game. It is still, you can still get it for $20. Although they said the initial release was only 10,000 copies. This is really cool. Like, I always think it's interesting when companies decide to do that, to not release their games digitally. And has potential of I don't know, like it can be collectors in the future. That I think that'll be a really cool part of Switch's history. This is not a game that I know about. This is really cool. Huh. Okay.
I win.
Oh yeah. You guys today are killing it with the personal stories and the deep dives, and I I'll include. I have two honorable mentions that I'll do quickly because I don't need to spend a lot of time on it. Number 4, especially Breath of the Wild. I don't need to spend a lot of time. I bought it. I actually bought it on a Black Friday sale, and I have
Oh wow.
about 300. I'm going to say about 300 hours. I checked my hours on my Switch. I don't think they're correct though. I'm going to say about 300 hours. I've played the DLC. Could spend endless amount of time in the world. Don't need to say anything more about that game. The last one I had is Pokemon Quest, which is a game I've been playing recently. Pokemon Quest is a free-to-play game, and it actually is a game where you could do no money spent and still have a good time.
Oh nice.
I ended up spending some gold and getting the extras or the DLC for like $20, and it does enhance the gameplay, but I really do enjoy games, and this is similar to mobile games that I've played before, where it's like it's free, and if you like it, you can support us by buying these extra skins or these extra cooking pots or whatever it might be. So I actually was encouraged to spend money on it because it was a game that I liked. So that's my only recent one. It came out about 5 years ago, I think, but that's my move. Like my move is to play games that are like 5 years old and be like, "Oh, this game is awesome. Did you guys know?" That's what I like to do.
That's kind of my strategy with PlayStation. Is like I stay up to date on Nintendo and stay like 5 years behind on PlayStation.
Yeah, and then you're like, did you know that? I can't even think of an example. Did you know this game is awesome? And everyone's like, "Yeah, of course."
But then you get the Game of the Year edition for like $20, which fits this segment.
Yeah, and you're like, suckers.
My honorable mention is this sale happens a lot on Switch. I see it all the time. You can get I think it's on the other systems too. You can get all 5 Doom games. And if you're a 90s kid, you know Doom. You love Doom. So they have, it's Doom, Doom 2, Doom 3, Doom 2016, and Doom 64, which all are included in this bundle for $20. I bought it about a year ago. I'm still on Doom 2 because that has a ton of levels, and I like to play things in order. It's also funny seeing Doom 64 on like PlayStation, but I have it on the Switch.
You can find Doom on everything now.
Original Doom,
yeah. Does it play
it on a gas pump?
It probably does.
And now our spotlight. Oh, Sean, did you have a? I always move on.
I didn't have
Sean,
any honorable.
Did you have an honorable mention?
But I
okay.
I will say for the spotlight, I'm very, very torn on it. We'll get into it, but
yeah, me too. Me too.
So this week we played Sega Genesis Sword of Vermilion. Came out in December of 1989 in Japan and October of 1990 in North America. And it was an RPG, one of the first. Technically the first was I'm blanking on the name. I should have put it in the notes. The usually has online at the end of
Phantasy
it. But
Star.
Phantasy Star, yeah. Phantasy Star was technically, I think, the first on the system, but this came out right like a few months later. I think it's funny that this game was at the very center of the Genesis does what Nintendo don't campaign. If you look at any of those ads, Sword of Vermilion is there and sometimes very prominently featured as like the game they're talking about. In fact, Sega and some of the ads boasted that there were over 300 hours of gameplay in Sword of Vermilion, even though you can finish the game in less than 20 hours. That's like saying there's 300 hours of gameplay in A Link to the Past.
Or any game. Or really any game. You could play this game for 300 hours. No one is stopping you. Yeah.
But no one is encouraging you either.
So
Oh, and to tie it again to something else we brought up, it's in the Sega Genesis Classics collection that I mentioned earlier. So that's probably the best way to experience it with like
Right,
27 other
right,
games.
and also apparently Steam has every Genesis game because when I look up like Altered Beast or Sword of Vermilion or anything like all of these games are on Steam apparently. Um, the whole the Nintendo don't thing, like I was thinking about how they use four different perspectives in this game, like four different camera perspectives, and I wonder if that was the idea behind it. But my question is, the different perspectives, is that the attempt at being innovative? Because for sure, like the first person view, I mean, that was pretty cool for the time.
Yeah.
Or is it just, did it just come off as an overall lack of focus? Because again, like doing something new isn't always innovative. Doing more isn't always innovative. So that's a part that I wondered about, because we have top down, third person, off to the side. I don't. They use lots of different ones.
So
Yeah, I'll tell you in my experience, outside of a PC, again Doom, um, outside of a PC, I don't remember seeing a lot of first person perspectives. And we mentioned a few weeks ago the Jurassic
Yeah.
Park on the Super Nintendo game. I remember that blowing my mind when you would go inside the buildings and it would be first person point of view. So I'll bet, you know, if I was playing this back then, it probably would have been super impressive to me, but I wasn't. This wasn't in any of the house, even the Sega house that I mentioned that was in my neighborhood. They weren't playing this, so I never experienced it back in the day.
So this game is crazy ambitious, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I
like
agree.
just what they were trying to do. So yeah, I think for the time, it's really impressive.
It. Yeah, I I definitely agree. I mean, for me, I spent a lot of time this week looking at reviews and let's plays because I just knew I wasn't going to have enough time to do it justice. And honestly, for me, I mean, a lot of it, a lot of my playtime felt flat. I mean, I thought graphically it's a little bit it's not very stimulating. It wasn't very exciting, and I found a few old reviews that really praise the soundtrack in this game, like even saying that it's one of the best on Genesis. I think the soundtrack is horrible in this game, in my opinion, and that's only my
That's
opinion.
fair.
But I thought, like, just it just repeats so much that I felt the urge to just turn it off, you know, like after a while. So it's interesting seeing the initial reviews. Again, I don't know if I can correctly rank this game because after playing it for 2 hours and watching reviews on it, I didn't even get to the magic spells part of it, really. You know,
Oh, me neither.
so like there's elements that I know of that I've researched that I just haven't gotten to experience. So that's my takeaway. This is the one game where I'm feeling a little bit iffy on as far as ranking it correctly.
So I
Yeah,
just
from
found it very clunky. Like I liked a lot of what it was doing, and it felt like, hey, if I
Mhm.
had Sega Genesis at the time and not Super Nintendo, and I didn't have access to Zelda, all right, yeah, I might have played through this because I spent some time with it, and like I said, very ambitious, but also very clunky.
Especially since this is way before Zelda. This is 88 or
89.
was it 89? 89. This is 89. So way ahead of the curve.
But like the combat's very, eh.
I was still playing NES because the Super Nintendo doesn't come out till 92, you know? So
Yeah, the
think about that.
reviews, not the reviews that I found on this online, like the YouTube reviews, all of the ones that I saw are people that are like, I grew up with this game. It has a lot of nostalgia. and it's one of my favorite games.
Yeah, that's why I could totally see, like, if you look at the time, because when you look at retro games now, you just look at the generations and you're like, okay, I'll compare Sega Genesis games to Super Nintendo games. And you kind of get lost in this in between area where in 1989, this was competing with the original Legend of Zelda, which looks way worse than this game, as far as like what a system is capable of.
Yeah.
But I also didn't think this game looked that great.
No.
So I'm kind of torn between the two. It looks kind of blurry.
I mean, I
think I'm going to rank it towards the middle because this is creating like a new category for me. We've said before, like the top games are the games we love, and the games down low are like the games you're never going to play again. This is like in a new spot. I'm going to put it right above Dynamite Heady because it's a game that I think I'm going to go back and try to finish because I play a lot of these turn-based RPG games, and I'm usually playing them while I play something else. So once I finish probably Tears of the Kingdom, this might be my backup game.
You play a lot of turn-based RPGs. Have you ever seen a game with a level 31 cap? Level 31.
Yeah, that's
not 30. Weird. 31.
Super Mario RPG caps at 30, so they had to go one better, even though that game wouldn't be out for another 7 years.
Why is it 31? Like, it just seems like just a very odd, random, like, oh, that's all we could fit. Like, we got to stop there. Yeah, and I'll tell you, like, I did enjoy going through the history of Yu Suzuki. I mean, Kevin, we were talking off air just last week about Shenmue, and it's interesting how much all of this is connected because Yu Suzuki, who made Shenmue, also made this game, and it's crazy if you look at the games that he developed from 84 to 2001 when Shenmue 2 was released. I mean, he's releasing multiple games every single year. And in the beginning, it's like Yu Suzuki. It's like, hang on. He's director, game designer, programmer, producer. Like, he was just doing everything for this company. Now, he is still a consultant for Sega, and he's only released 3 games since Shenmue 2, and they were all pretty bad, including Shenmue City and Shenmue 3. But he said he would come back possibly for Virtua Fighter if they ever made another game for that. Oh,
do you have an idea of where you're going to rank it, Sean?
Yeah, I did this. It's right above Dynamite Heady, so it puts it at number 17 because I might go back to it because I like a lot of it, but at the same time, it's kind of boring. I don't know how it feels like an experiment, I guess, and I just kind of want to go and complete the experiment at some point down the road. So, no, I liked it. And again, like, if you had that game then I totally get why you would have been into it and been like, oh my God, this is awesome. And so, I don't know, that's just me trying to figure, like, all right, for the time it was really good. Now not so good, but I still want to play it. So...
I compared it to the original Legend of Zelda, but I think the more apt comparison would be the Adventures of Link because the perspective changes.
I put this game. Wait, which number is it? It's I put this game at 17, below Earthworm Jim. It's also below Demon Crest. It's right above Donkey Kong Jr. and Yoshi. I feel fine about it. I mean, it's. RPGs are difficult for me to begin with, and this is not one that really interested in me. It felt pretty bland. The boss battles especially do not seem all that interesting. But I feel good with where I'd placed it, pretty close to where both of you did.
Yeah, we're so close to all being in the same spot. Sean did 17, you did 17, and I put it at 18.
Yeah, so we're,
So
we're
we'll
the
see how that
same
shifts
mind.
over time.
Oh, and last thing I'll include, Megatech Magazine said that this is probably the best RPG on the Mega Drive. So this game receives the probably award. It's the probably the best award.
That's a good award to have.
So what?
All right. I hope we get Altered Beast, but let's click the randomizer and see what we get. All right, we're going back to where it all started, the NES, and we are playing Mappy Land. I love Mappy Land. I grew up with Mappy Land. This is a game that's going to rank high. I'll give it away now. It's not going to be a top 5, but I grew up with this game, so it has nostalgia.
Yeah.
Nostalgia blur. Did you play it growing up, Sean?
Yeah, I think I had the Atari version of it, but yep, I've had time with Mappy.
It was on Atari?
I think it was.
Do a quickie. Mappy Land. No, not Mary Lane. I want Mappy Land. Let's see what it was on. Doesn't say Atari. Just Nintendo Entertainment System. You might be thinking of a different game.
I don't know, but I definitely played it. So
it's in the Namco Museum Archives Volume 2, whatever that came out on. Wouldn't have been Atari, but yeah, I like this game. If you haven't played this game before, you're a mouse and there's trampolines and you're running away from I think he's a cop. I don't know why the mouse is running from the cop. Oh no, you're a cat. You're running from the cop. The cop is a mouse and you're a cat. Mappy Land.
Yeah, that's for next week. So
I'm not sure why it's called Mappy Land. Maybe we'll find that out next week.
So if you guys liked Altered Beast, leave us a comment on Spotify. Like, did we get it wrong? Is that your favorite game? Would you like to see a remake of that game?
What Papa Roach song do you think would make the best video game? We already have Dead Cell. And yeah, as always, we're Nintendo fans, not Nintendo experts. So leave us any other comments you want to know. If you want to correct us, leave us anything below you want us to talk about. Leave us anything below you're like, hey, you guys don't know what you're talking about. And we'll talk about it on the show. And been checking that email every now and again, and we still have nothing. So got some junk mail, but other than that. Someone from Zencaster that we used to use to record. And that's our email box. All right, we'll see you all next week.